All right, guys, so we have here the Proton X70 for 2022, and it's been facelifted, it's been updated. Can you really tell? I can tell, but can you tell? You have some visual changes, but the big thing is the engine, the new engine over here. So Proton, to make us more reassured that this engine is just as good as the outgoing 1.8T, they brought us here. They made us drive all the way to Desaru in Johor, okay? In a nice way. So here we are, giving my first impressions on the X70 2022. So when you look at this X70, you go like, wait, this is new? Are you sure about that?
Are you sure about that?
And when looking at this car, I can tell certain things right away that are different that I like, okay? These are things that I like and dislike about the car so far. All right, this gloss black treatment at the this sort of fake air inlet over here, very nice. I like it better. Same treatment with the grille. Overall, I didn't like the neither here nor there gray, which looks kind of faded out of the factory. This gloss black really blends everything together because you have this also two-tone wheels, which I'll move on to right now. So over here, look, you have this nice two-tone wheels, and they are more aggressive, 19 inches, okay? And I do like these. These are much better to my eyes than the older, you know, I don't know what they were, like twin 5-spoke wheels. They didn't look that nice. They didn't look that upper class, atas. This is more fitting. Not a big fan of this brown, but you know, it's an SUV, whatever. Look at this. You have this spacing over here, and you have this gloss black treatment alongside this kind of like little piece of trim that joins the two headlights together in gloss black. This gloss black treatment, it seems subtle, but the visual impact altogether makes a significant difference. And I think it looks better. Like. All right, so the big story with the X70 for this year is that it has the X50's engine, the X50 Flagship engine. So the 1.5 liter TGDI, there is like a code name for the engine, I forgot it. I wrote it down, but I forgot it. Anyway, GLH13TGD something. Anyway, 1.5 liters. And the thing is, Proton has told us that this engine has not gone any output changes, but it does have calibration changes between the X70 and the X50. In this, you get, I think, lower end torque, stronger lower end torque, at least more early. So you have this very nice, I mean, you open the bonnet, you can't see anything except maybe the washer fluid for the wipers, and like, I don't know what that's, brake fluid. But yeah, this thing, this engine cover is the softest engine cover. You can sleep on it. Wow, okay. So, output changes, none whatsoever, okay? X50 and this get the same 177 horsepower and 255 Newton meters of torque, all right? And that, torque-wise, is a lot less than the 300 Newton meters of torque that you get in the 1.8T. So, can this compete? Can this actually feel just as refined, just as smooth, just as effortless as the older 4-cylinder engine? It better. So there's really only one thing to talk about, right? The engine in this Proton X70, which should feel like an X50 because it is exactly like the X50. Yalah, got calibration difference, yada yada yada, but really this is the X50 engine. Output pun sama, 177 horsepower dengan 255 Newton meters of torque. That is 45 Newton meters less than you get peak torque than the 1.8T. Do you feel it? Yes, you do. Honestly, like I haven't driven this car since they put the DCT in, and that was like 2 years ago before MCO, just before MCO. So yeah, even then also I do feel like this is a little bit less torquey. But that being said, only I will notice that. Only I yang nak test this car, so I put my foot down, I try to accelerate as fast as I can. Yes, I will feel it, that missing torque. Okay, but Proton has really tried hard to mask it. That means they have adjusted the torque curve and they've done some, you know, calibration work to make sure that most of the time you don't feel it. Most of the time you don't really hunt for torque. All right? So if you're going at lower speeds, which you know, city driving, like urban lah, okay? Urban driving, you really would not feel that lag. Okay, so let's say I make a U-turn right now. I'm going really slowly. About U-turn kan, tapi I want to go faster. Foot down. Okay, all right. It's not a fast car, but the thing is, the X70 has never been a fast car. It accelerates, it gets going. It's just not as punchy as you would find in the X50 because this engine memang is a good performer in the X50, a much lighter car. This is 1.6 tons, over 1.6 tons. So you do feel that it's trying to just get going. But when you are in the right gear, in the right band of its torque curve, you do have decent performance. Also at highway speeds, okay? Let's say you have a car with almost 180 horsepower and quite a bit of torque, right? And you have a gap that opens up between, let's say, two Alphards that are speeding way more than they should be. This car doesn't give you that confidence. That performance isn't enough to squeeze in between the two of them. You go 110, okay? Or let's say going 100 lah, okay? And then you want to accelerate some more. You put your foot down, not much happens. It doesn't really have that much roll-on performance. So 100 kilometers per hour in 7th gear, you put your foot down, the gearbox doesn't really respond that well to kick you down to the right gear. And then maybe the engine also doesn't really know what to do yet. So it just doesn't have that just get up and go when you want to overtake in the highway. And this is kind of not that great for a car that's an SUV, a family car that you'll be taking. I'm in Desaru right now, like I said, right? So you'll be on the highway taking a road trip with your family. You got luggage in the back, got kids, got your wife, got your mother-in-law or whatever. Put your foot down, nothing happens. You know, so yeah, that's something you got to consider. This isn't like the X50 where you have more confidence to overtake. You don't. You have confidence to overtake and accelerate from the lights, from a standstill, yes. Refinement, okay, another big point about the 3-cylinder engine. This isn't that sensation you get even with the Ativa also, okay? Even the newer 3-cylinders, you get that kind of rattle, a kind of I don't know, that kind of rough, I don't know, roughness about the way the engine note. There's a characteristic to it that's kind of rough. This, Proton has really tried hard to make sure you don't really notice that either. I don't know how much sound deadening material they've put in the firewall and the wheel arches just to make sure that doesn't translate to the cabin. It works. It's a good engine, guys. You get 7% more fuel economy, at least that's what they say lah, okay? So you gotta ask yourself, is that deficit in torque worth the 45 Newton meters of torque that you sacrifice? But if you really do want the 1.8T, they still will sell you it, okay? So Proton, this is the second most expensive variant, okay? The 1.5 TGDI Premium, two-wheel drive. Above this, you have the 1.8 Premium, okay? That's the older engine, but you know, you get all the bells and whistles, you got the ADAS, you get the nice Napa leather seats, you get all the stuff, except you have the more powerful engine. So you want that, you can have that. You pay 4,000-ish extra on that. X70, still great value, still a good car. The thing is, it's hard to make a strong opinion about it because this is a car that's been around for since 2018, for 4 years, and generally nothing else has changed. All the little gripes that I have with it, still here. All the things that I do like about it, still here. So it's actually quite hard to form an opinion about the X70 because this is a car I've driven first in 2018 and then in 2020 when they had the DCT fitted to the older engine, and now you have the DCT and the newer engine of the X50 in the same car in a bigger C-segment SUV, which should be worse. But the thing is, Proton has made a lot of effort to make this as seamless a transition. If you were driving this car and I just put you inside, this is an X70 like you did before, you might not tell a difference because it feels the same or very similar and in normal driving, it is imperceptible. Again, this is a car that is good value, excellent value. In fact, I think on the market, you can't really beat it in terms of value for a C7 SUV. This is 118,000 ringgit, okay, for the 1.5 TGDI Premium. You can go even higher with the 1.8 liter two-wheel drive Premium if you really want extra power, but this is just fine. This is in normal driving. 90% of the time, you will not tell a difference between this and the 1.8 liter. There you go.